a limited speed limit because they're putting inconvenienced. So much money has been invested that the government feels that. And her name is Sally. And she was talking about the fact that 2 years ago, her husband Derek, who had never had an accident on a motorway, his car broke down and he was hit. And she was asked, well, what about the safety record of these smart motorways? And what about the fact that there is surveillance, which means that you can close, have time to get over the barrier. No. He didn't have time for somebody to broke down. And he was hit, and he was killed. And that was her husband of 66 years. Terrible. And she described it as a living death. Yeah. But recommendations immediately of this Transport Select Committee report, which says suspend them for now, the safety data's not there. The government has said they will consider the distinct, tells you. If you stop in a lane on the motorway, you know, if you drive, if you're driving around London or you're in the back of a cab which is driving around London, you'll hear a lot about this. Yet the smart motorways are about making it easier to accommodate all of the cars that need to use the motorways. So there's a kind of government here where they could go, OK, we've in the light of our COP26 commitments, we've reached smart motorways. No, I'm kind of serious here.
That's very clever logic, Susanna.
And then they could say, actually, we're going to reduce the capacity on the motorways.
You're associated...
On average, I mean, we're faced not having 160,000 care workers.
But if it was you...
didn't want to take the jab, would you want your mum or dad to lose that person and for the care home, the virus?
Yes.
So I just wonder whether the argument...
But it's less.
Isn't there? So I wonder whether those people who aren't getting the vaccination are saying, well, actually, even if I was double jabbed, I could still transmit it to my vulnerable patients in a care home. I mean, was a motivator for people to get jabbed.
Good morning, it's just on 6:30. Welcome to the programme. And if you are planning to go on a motorway today, I've got a 300-mile drive to do later. Good luck. We have been absolutely inundated, and I use that word advisedly, from so many of you about your nightmare experiences on so-called smart motorways after the icing that we did yesterday. In fact, it dominated the show. I mean, I write for my sins. I wear a newspaper hat. I write a newspaper column every week, and I've been banging on about this for about 2 or 3 years. But I was astonished by the strength of feedback we got. Should we see some of the comments that we got?
This is what viewers told us about their experiences.
Up with this, we must not put. We've got Kevin McGrath from the Mirror and the Mail. Your stories, your experiences. Some of them happened, we've had some in already that happened yesterday after you'd watched our debate. You then went on the motorway and this happened to you, and we've got some terrifying stories. Do send them in. We're going to be talking about this live with some people who've gone through it at about 8:15, aren't we, this morning? So we'll do that. We just need to change horses a little bit here. Big front page story in the Mirror today, and this seems to be absolutely copper bottom. 60,000 carers are about to get the sack if they don't get the jab by the 11th of November.
Just on the care home stuff, so Nicola says, and this is going to come as no surprise, there are admin problems. Nicola says, I work in a care home and despite being double vaccinated and having had a booster, I am facing dismissal on the 11th because I was unable to verify my ID on the NHS app. I now have to wait and see if my COVID pass, physical COVID pass, arrives by post by the 11th of November. Well, I'll tell you what, we definitely don't need to lose people because... You mentioned the smart motorways.
Yeah, I was just saying we're getting... there's no time to read them out here, but we will do them through the show, and we'll be coming back to this big time at about 8:10. Yes, already you're...
By the way, Richard, and we congratulate...
Put 2 and 2 together and got 4.5 or 5. But
well,
I'm going to be doing the show, you know, down the line, along with lots of other people, you know.
No, we like you.
Confirm nor deny.
No, exactly.
Well, I'm very excited.
Is he on I'm a Celeb?
5 tomorrow.
Right. But not on a smart motorway.
OK.
Yes.
Right. Any more details?
No.
OK.
What's Welsh for no?
It's normally a hand jar.
Still to come, comedian and our favourite pub landlord, Al.
Welcome back. It's almost exactly 5 to 7 on a Wednesday morning. Competition time now, and this is your chance again to win 60 grand in tax-free cash as part of our Winter Wishlist prize. Here's Andy with all the details. Now then, since his nephew Finlay was diagnosed with the rare and extremely aggressive form of leukemia back in 2019, the comedian, pub landlord, Al Murray...
Great to see you. I'd just like to point out, my pint was sparkling water. Let's take a look at the weather with Laura, who's now inside the Glasgow Science Centre. Morning.
We predict showers. Warm showers. Do you see? Proud sponsors of Good Morning Britain National Weather. Boxed boilers.
repeating. What did you think when you first saw each other?
And the answer is usually don't go to bed on an argument, I think.
The years go by, and if you're unlucky, the vines grow in opposite directions, and you end up suddenly you're looking at this great gap between you. If she's still up at the Glasgow Science Centre with the weather. Now we've met before. You've been on a few shows that I've done in the past. What was the first thing that went through your head? You first.
Off the show, we really made sure that we both sort of said to each other, we're going to remember that.
Allowed to forget
but actually, exactly. But it's a wonderful moment, of course, and that moment is the very...
Show them that. And how old were they when you first showed them that? Arc of your relationship then. So you have your blind date, you're off, you find that you are very compatible straight away, you know, because of your personalities. When did you start to realise that this was going to go somewhere? This wasn't just going to be a bit of TV fun and, you know, you'd stay in touch but move on. When did you realise it was putting down roots?
Weekend relationship until we got engaged and married.
Alex, the reason that you choose the partner behind the screen when you're the picker, which you were, is because you ask, I think it's 3 questions.
That's right.
What was it about your lovely wife's answers that made you think that's the... People get very frustrated with them, don't know how to, it seems, you know, find out who's right for them. You're in the perfect position because it was like the equivalent of a dating app, wasn't it? You're asking a few questions and trying to get the answers that
Reminder.
Very, very important.
Totally.
Now, of course, Scylla was famous for saying, you know, do I need to get a hat? And, of course, in your case, she did. When we...
Having a long and happy marriage, and I know this from my own experience, is that everybody says to you, after you've gone past about 20 years, the question that gets asked more and more often, what's the secret of a long and happy marriage? What's
I
your
think shared values.
That phrase, if you grow in the same direction, and I often see it, it's a bit like 2 vines being planted at the foot of a wall. Lucky, and it is luck, isn't it? It's a lottery direction, and you end up still reasonably close together, and that's just luck.
The more you...
Congratulations on
Thank you.
When's your anniversary?
It was last week.
Exclusive deals on festive treats with your Tasco Club.